Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history. And in this video, we're going to talk about how LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers are getting ready for the in-season tournament, guys. That's right, guys. It's here. Once again, what we've all been waiting for, what all the real NBA fans were waiting for, what we all wanted, was the in-season tournament to begin, man. We couldn't wait for the in-season tournament to come back. Who cares about the NBA Finals? Who cares about the actual real championship, right? The Larry O'Brien trophy. Let's worry more about the in-season tournament because that's really the priority, and that really is what true basketball fans want. And once again, guys, LeBron James and the Lakers are getting ready for the in-season tournament. You guys remember last year, they celebrated as if they won the NBA championship, and it amounted to nothing at the end of the season. They get bumped out in the first round. And that's really what we've been talking about with the Los Angeles Lakers, celebrating mediocrity, being celebrated for mediocrity. It's LeBron James. He celebrates mediocrity, man. That's the standard. The bar for him has been lowered so that mediocrity is celebrated. And he celebrated that in-season tournament. And we're going to talk about in this video, man, because the NBA is getting ready. You guys saw last night. Was the first night of the pool play of the tournament games was last night, and the Lakers are getting ready to start their in-season tournament and defend their in-season tournament championship, guys. We're going to talk about in this video. Man, I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man, has been supporting my channel. Much respect to all you guys. I want to send a special thanks out to KK for coming through with the super thanks. Much respect to you. I want to send a special thanks out to my man, Story Games, for coming through once again. I want to send a special thanks to my man, Rick James, the original Rick James, man, once again coming through with the super thanks, man. I'm truly humbled by all your guys' support, man. For real, guys. It means a lot, man. And shout out to my man Ezra Chambers for coming through on PayPal with the donation on PayPal. So thank you very much. You guys know I'm truly humbled. Shout out to everybody in the membership. Thank you very much, guys. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I wanted to talk about LeBron James and the Lakers getting ready to defend their in-season tournament championship, man. And you know, guys, when we talk about the NBA and we talk about how the NBA has been going downhill over the last 10 years or so, for me, over the last 10 years, the NBA has completely gone down the drains. The in-season tournament is one of those things. Because what have we talked about? We've talked about the gimmicks of the NBA. And I've told you guys that LeBron James has given us the gimmick era. Right? You had these all-time greats, right? The leaders of eras. You had the Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell in the 60s, right? That rivalry that kept the NBA, going at that time, right? Two of the greatest players of all time. The rivalry, right? That was like probably the greatest rivalry in all of basketball, man. Was greater than Magic and Bird. It could have been Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain. So you had that there, right? You had these great players, right? Then you had the 70s, right? When you had the ABA-NBA merger. That was a big deal to bring in guys like Dr. J, to bring in guys like Iceman, right? This is part of it. You still had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar there, right? Then you bring in a Moses Malone comes in. You have the great star players that have personalities, that got swag, that have overall games to keep the NBA going. These are the star players. We all know about the 80s, right? With Magic and Bird, right? Keeping the NBA and bringing it into a new realm. And then Michael Jordan coming in the 90s with all the other great players, the Hakeem Olajuwons, Charles Barkley's, the Patrick Ewings, right? The Clyde Drexlers, right? Dominique Wilkins, Isaiah Thomas, all these guys around the same time. And then Michael Jordan and his group taking it into 90s, taking the game global. And then the torch being carried into the 2000s by guys like Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett and Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Kidd and Steve Nash and Allen Iverson. These guys carried the torch into the 2000s, man. And then after the 2000s and the 2010s come around, they dropped it. They fumbled it up. LeBron James, the leader, supposed to be the leader of this era, the era's greatest player, he fumbled it up. And what has happened has the NBA has gone downhill because of someone like a LeBron James and the example that he set for the players to follow. Remember, you're setting the example here as the greatest players. They follow the Steph Currys. They follow the Kevin Durants. And that's part of the problem. When two of the greatest players of the era are guys like Kevin Durant and LeBron James, then you're not leaving a good legacy for the players to follow behind. When you have LeBron James creating super teams, making the decision, telling us to go back to our boring lives, right? Talking down to the commoners, to the fans. And then you have Kevin Durant essentially doing the same thing, trying to one-up LeBron James by essentially saying, I'm going to form a super-duper team, and you think you talk down to the fans. I'm going to talk down to the fans even more. That's Kevin Durant. He one-up LeBron James in both of those areas. But we both do not respect them the same. They're both a bunch of goofs that no one respects, man. They're not real men. And they've taken away from the competitive nature of the NBA. And that was part of the problem in the 2010s, the lack of competitiveness. And these guys are the leaders of that. So when we think about LeBron James and the eras, and then we think about all the gimmicks that the NBA has had to institute over the last several years, we think about the load managing guidelines, right? LeBron James load manages. He's a superstar player, supposed to be the face of the league, but this man's been load managing for years now. For years, LeBron James has been load managing, essentially since he came back to Cleveland the second time around. He's been load managing. We talk about the flopping penalties that they had to institute in the NBA, that they never had to institute before. LeBron James is a big culprit of flopping. And it's emphasized and highlighted more for LeBron James because of his status as one of the all-time greats, as supposed to be the face of the league's greatest player. So you have more of a responsibility. You're supposed to be held to a higher standard. But for some reason, LeBron James has not been held to that standard. They've lowered the standard for him and a lot of these other all-time greats. And that's what we say. They're not holding the same standard, and that's why we're here to set the record straight and hold these guys to a standard as the true fans of basketball. We don't have to deal with this nonsense. So this is part of the reason why the NBA ratings have struggled, because it's all gimmicks now. You're trying to sell a gimmick product to the fans. Once again, they did not need load managing guidelines when I grew up watching basketball. They never needed this. And even the 60s, the 70s, they never needed these gimmicks because these grown men showed up to work. They did not get paid millions of dollars, but they went out there and gave the effort. How many times have you guys seen a picture of Bill Russell, right, from back in the day? And this man has his leg wrapped up, like some crazy wrap on his leg. He's got his arm wrapped up. They're wearing these low-top Converse canvas sneakers. You're telling me that Bill Russell wasn't at a disadvantage? Didn't have to battle through pain and injury? You're telling me these guys didn't battle through this stuff and deal with mental stuff? Remember, they played basketball during a civil rights movement, but today everyone says that they didn't do anything. They didn't play anybody. They only had 8 teams. There was all white guys in the league. This is what they do because they're not aware of the reality of the world. Once again, they're narrow-minded idiots out here, and they don't know the history of the game. They don't care or respect the history of the game. So once again, the standard was higher for those guys, but today the standard's been lowered. We also have an in-season tournament like I talked about. We have a play-in tournament now. They actually need a play-in to help some of these lesser guys, right, like a LeBron James, make the playoffs. So LeBron James was the one that came out years ago and said whoever came up with the in-season tournament, the play-in, was an idiot, was stupid. That's what he said. And what do you know? Since LeBron James has been in LA, they have been essentially in the play-in every single year, except for the first year where they didn't even make the playoffs, and the bubble year. Every other year, they've been in the play-in. So LeBron James has benefited from something that he called stupid. Once again, do I think it's stupid? Yeah, we don't need a play-in. Once again, why does the NBA need a play-in? Because it's a gimmick league now. Because the players can't hold the league up. I want you guys to think about that. The players themselves, off of their games, off of their personalities, they can't support the NBA. So the NBA has to come with all these gimmicks to get the fans to watch. When we think about the in-season tournament, guys, one of the biggest problems with the in-season tournament is the motivation. What's the motivating factor for the in-season tournament? You guys know? It's money. That's all it's about. It's money. The players get more money for this. So what they wanted to do, because you guys remember, why did they bring the in-season tournament about? You guys know why the in-season tournament is here? Essentially, the in-season tournament is here because of the load managing and these guys not showing up to work. And the competitiveness of the beginning of the season was not there. Guys are load managing all over throughout the season. So what did they do? The NBA thought that they can incentivize these guys by giving them more money. They need more money to play. They're not getting enough money already. They have to incentivize them with more money to get these guys to show up and not load manage, to give the games in the beginning and the middle of the season more meaning. Once again, showing and proving that there's a gimmick era, that these guys don't love the game, they don't respect the game, they're only out there for the money and the fame. You're literally throwing more money at guys that are already making too much money. These guys are making too much. If they weren't making this much money, then they would be forced to go to work. If they had to earn it, Ben Simmons could play 1-2 seasons and be set for life, even though this man hasn't earned a damn dollar on that court. This man's been robbing organizations since he came to the NBA. He refused to work on his game, put any work in to be a professional, earn that contract. He refused to do these things. But he runs his mouth a lot. He talks a lot. But he ain't out there earning nothing. So once again, this is the problem for the NBA. These guys today make all this money, but they don't have a love of the game like that. They don't care for the game. If they were getting paid a lot of money, but still going out there and trying to run through a wall for that love of the game, for that competitiveness, for the respect of the fans, then it wouldn't be a problem. But it's the complete opposite. They're getting all this money, and it shows. They don't care. So the NBA has instituted into the tournament, excuse me, guys, and offer these guys more money to show up to work where they're already getting paid millions. Think about how that sounds. So once again, the players aren't good enough on their own to uplift the NBA, to support the NBA. The NBA needs gimmicks. And once again, we're talking about the in-season tournament. The motivation factor, the incentive was money. Money, more money for these guys. It's an absolute joke. You're trying to sell this to the fans? How much more money these guys need to show up to work? Once again, where's that love of the game? They should be playing for the love of the game. The money's going to come. They're professionals. You're going to get paid regardless. These guys are never happy with the money they're getting because everyone needs to be a billionaire. Everyone needs to build a brand. A lot of you goofs aren't good enough for a brand. You don't have the personality or the swag for a brand. You're not consistent enough for a brand. But everybody wants a brand. Everybody wants their own shoe. Like back in the day, you had to be a legit baller to have your own shoe. You had to be a superstar level player to have a shoe. Not everyone's got a shoe. And everyone thinks that their shoe is good. Everyone thinks they're important because they got a shoe. These guys are a bunch of goofs, man. Who's buying the Joel Embiid shoes? Are you buying the Kawhi Leonard New Balances? Ain't no one buying these goofy shoes, man. Do you want to be like Kawhi Leonard? You'll put the shoes on and it'll automatically be sent to an emergency room. Joel Embiid, same thing. You want to wear his sneakers? Why would you want to wear his sneakers? That was the whole point back in the day. You sold the sneakers based off of guys' games. How could you sell Kawhi Leonard sneakers if guys never on the court? How could you sell Joel Embiid sneakers if guys never on the court? So how are you selling their sneakers? Based off of what game? James Harden has his own shoe. Who the hell wants to wear James Harden sneakers? I would never wear James Harden shoes. But he has his own shoe. James Harden. It's an absolute joke, man. Everyone's got a Zion Williamson has his own shoe. Remember, he's on the Jordan brand. I told you, Jordan needs to drop this clown. But Zion has his own shoe. You want to wear the Zion Williams? And it has nothing to do with how these shoes look or how they perform on the court. It's irrelevant. I'm talking about supporting and getting behind the player of the shoe you're wearing. I would never wear something of someone I do not support. I don't wear Michael Jordan sneakers just because they're Jordans. A lot of people do. I support Michael Jordan. I get behind Michael Jordan. I respect Michael Jordan, the basketball player. So I'll wear his stuff. I have no problem wearing it. I'm not embarrassed to wear it. I'm not ashamed to wear it. None of these things. I got Michael Jordan posters on my wall still because I respect him. He's a respectable person in my eyes. And once again, I value what Michael Jordan did when he played the game. And like I said, man, the things that I value, Michael Jordan values these things. The honor, the class, the integrity that I watched Michael Jordan carry himself with, I'll buy his merchandise. And plus, Michael Jordan was on the court balling. So I'll wear his sneakers. He balled in them things. He was out there showing up. Kobe, you buy Kobe's shoes because Kobe was out there balling. He was out there doing the thing. He wasn't on the bench load managing. He wasn't doing commercials but not playing games. He wasn't making excuses and crying and moaning. These guys today, it's an absolute joke, man. So you have the in-season tournament. LeBron James and the Lakers, remember, over-celebrated last year. That was another big problem for LeBron James. Part of the lack of respect that you have for this clown. You celebrated an in-season tournament, which we all know is a gimmick, that no one respected. You guys celebrate that over the top. And the reason why I single LeBron James out, once again, it goes back to the leadership. You're supposed to be the leader of the team. So the team is only going to celebrate as much as you do, as much as you allow them. Once again, leading by example. So LeBron James is drinking out of the cup. He's pouring champagne everywhere. They got goggles on like they won the NBA Finals. They celebrated that win as if they won the NBA Finals. Meanwhile, they were only 30 games into the season or whatever the hell they were. But they celebrated like the season was over, like they had reached the mountaintop. And what happened for the Lakers that season? It was a rest of up and down season, finishing in the 7th seed or the 8th seed, after they were battling for a play-in all year long, fighting for a play-in spot. The in-season tournament they celebrate. Let's not forget that they had the plus 500 at the free throw line last season, but it was still only good enough to lift them into the 7th seed. Even though they had one of the easiest schedules to finish the season, all those free throws they got, they still only managed to get the 7th seed, another play-in year for the Lakers, after celebrating the in-season tournament the way that they did. So what did that do for your team? It did nothing. All we heard was trade rumors again. Oh, they got to trade this guy. They got to sign a free agent. Remember, they needed DeMar DeRozan. They needed this guy. They needed Klay Thompson. They need all these guys. Last year, they needed to sign free agents and trade guys. After the in-season tournament, they celebrated. They were the best team. Oh, we're the in-season tournament champs. Remember, they put the banner up next to the George Mikan Minneapolis Lakers titles. That is a straight slap in the face to the great George Mikan and the legacy that he left for the Minneapolis Lakers. The banners that are raising. I mean, don't forget also that the Lakers did not retire George Mikan's number until last season or the year before? So they have no respect for George Mikan historically. They did not honor this man with no jersey retirement until just last year, I think. That's a shame, man. That's a damn shame. And then you hang the in-season tournament banner with the Minneapolis Lakers championship banners. First of all, they shouldn't have hung the banner. We know that. But if you're going to hang the banner, that joint should have been far away on its own thing, in its own separate place. It should have been far away from any of the championship banners. Far away from that, because it's not the same. It's nowhere near. But LeBron James and the Lakers celebrated as if it was. And that goes on his poor leadership. On him celebrating mediocrity once again. You're celebrating an in-season tournament win? That means literally nothing. It means nothing but made you guys get extra money. It did nothing for your NBA season. It didn't help you in the playoffs. It didn't help you down the road during the season. It did nothing for your team. And not only that, LeBron James was named the MVP, even though Anthony Davis put up, a 30-20 game or a 40-20 game in the championship game? They gave LeBron James the MVP of the tournament. This is tantamount to the same thing that we just watched happen in the Olympics. LeBron James plays good against the mediocre teams in the Olympics, but in the games where it mattered most, when you're going against some actual resistance, LeBron James is not the best player. He gets carried by Steph Curry and Kevin Durant in the two most meaningful games against the stiffest competition. LeBron James is not the best player. Steph Curry obviously is. Carries the team, saves them against Serbia. They give LeBron James the MVP. Same thing in the in-season tournament. Anthony Davis does all the dirty work. He's the best player on both sides of the court last year. And LeBron James gets the MVP for the in-season tournament. So once again, LeBron James has been celebrated for mediocrity. And the trophies that he's accumulated over the last couple of years mean nothing. Literally nothing. I told you, LeBron James has not won an actual championship since 2016. And LeBron James has never won a championship without a super team. Never once, guys. LeBron James has not won an MVP in the last 10 seasons, guys, in his 30s. Hasn't won an MVP. And 2 of his 4 MVPs came on his stacked super team, which he should have never gotten. How do you give LeBron James MVP awards on the Miami Heat? They didn't give Kevin Durant any MVPs when he was on the Golden State Warriors, did he? No, because he was on a super duper team. Same thing for LeBron James, but they didn't keep that same energy for LeBron James. They gave him 2 MVP trophies he should have never gotten on a super team, but he hasn't gotten one since he turned 30. Once again, showing and proving that LeBron James ain't been doing nothing out there on the court except lollygagging and stat padding. right? LeBron James ain't made an all-defensive team in his 30s. So once again, what has LeBron James done out there on the court? Nothing. Anthony Davis has clearly been the best two-way player on that team last year, and obviously more the same this season. And LeBron James has given MVP awards in the Olympics and given an MVP award in the in-season tournament, even though he clearly was not the best player. The man dropped a 40-20 game in the championship and wasn't even given the MVP. Imagine if LeBron James would have put those numbers up. Imagine if LeBron James was doing what Anthony Davis was doing this season. Remember, Anthony Davis put up numbers at the beginning of this year that people hadn't been doing in the Lakers since Will Chamberlain and Kobe Bryant. LeBron James has been in the Lakers for the past, 5-6 years now. He ain't been doing none of this stuff. He's been out there being carried by the NBA and by Anthony Davis. Those are the facts, y'all. And another coach bites the dust last season. So now they'll celebrate J.J. Redick winning the in-season tournament. Let's look at the pool play here. The Phoenix Suns are in the Lakers pool play in their group. Kevin Durant's out, so that should be a lot easier for the Lakers. But let's not forget, though, Anthony Davis, to me, is the best player in that pool. You have what? The Lakers, the Phoenix Suns, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who just lost Chet Holmgren. I like SGA, but I'm not a big believer in SGA. He's got some talent, but is he better than Anthony Davis? I'm not buying it, man. So once again, Anthony Davis, to me, is the best two-way player in the league. Who on the Oklahoma City Thunder is going to match up with Anthony Davis, man? So once again, you have Oklahoma City Thunder, the Phoenix Suns. Okay, on paper, these are very good teams, right? Well, once again, let's not forget the help the Lakers are going to get from the free throws, and let's not forget they have the best player, Anthony Davis. If he's healthy, he's one of the best players, the best player in that pool. You also have the San Antonio Spurs, I believe, in that pool. The Utah Jazz are in that pool. And this is what the Lakers open up with in their in-season tournament. They open up with the San Antonio Spurs, I believe, tomorrow, and then they open up, then they have the Utah Jazz in their first two pool play games. So the Lakers have a chance to make it again to the championship round, or at least into the knockout round. And are they going to be celebrated? Are they going to celebrate the same way? Over-celebrate? It reminded me of the Orlando Magic in 1994 when they beat 1995 when they beat the Chicago Bulls in the second round. And you guys remember how the Orlando Magic celebrated that win over Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls? They lifted Horace Grant onto their shoulders, and they paraded him around the court. They over-celebrated as if they won the championship because they beat Michael Jordan and the Bulls. They over-celebrated. Once again, going to the lack of leadership from a Shaquille O'Neal, you allow your team to celebrate that way. You lift up Horace Grant's shoulders as if they made it the game winner in Game 7 of the finals. Over-celebrated, and what happened? They got swept in the finals. You got swept. So this is what the Lakers did. They over-celebrated last year because of LeBron James' lack of leadership and lack of awareness to understand this means literally nothing. You would think that someone in that many years in the NBA who's won championships, right? You would think that he'd have a little more self-awareness and be like, listen, guys, this ain't nothing, man. We can't over-celebrate this. Let's be happy that we did this, but let's stay focused here. We're not hanging the banner up until after the season. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. LeBron James allowed them to go over the top with the celebration, and it meant nothing down the road. Like we all said, it's a gimmick for the NBA, and that's what LeBron James is giving us, a gimmick NBA. And the in-season tournament will be beginning again soon, and you guys been waiting for this? You've been waiting for the in-season tournament? No, we've been waiting for real basketball. We're waiting for the All-Star game to come back. We're waiting for the slam dunk cons to come back. We're waiting for these guys to show up to work consistently. We're waiting for these guys to wait for the NBA to become more physical again and play defense again. That's what we're waiting for. No one cares about an in-season tournament. Nobody wants a play-in tournament. Nobody wants to hear about load managing guidelines and having to force these guys to come to work by giving them a 65-game minimum, man. That's terrible stuff right there. That shows you these guys are not uplifting the NBA and pushing the game forward. The game has regressed with these guys, and LeBron James has been the leader, the forefront of this. You're supposed to be the face of the league. You're supposed to be the league's greatest player over the last 10, 15, 20 years now, and you have not lived up to that. You have taken away from the NBA for your own selfish reasons, and you've cheated the game, you've cheated the fans, you've cheated yourself. These are the facts, guys. So LeBron James and Lakers get ready to defend their in-season tournament, man, that no one cares about. And they're going to celebrate this stuff again. Gimmick era. Remember that, guys. That's what LeBron James is giving us, the gimmick era. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.